This is section 2.6. This is part 5. We just finished talking about proportions, and we're going to keep using that as we talk about percents. Percent is literally per 100. We know what the word per means. Cent is, if you know, think about prefix. There are 100 years in a century. There are 100 cents in a dollar, literally per 100. A percent is a special case of a ratio, and we also often figure percentages using the percent proportion. There's also the percent equation, but we're going to concentrate on the proportion here. The most common way of describing the percent proportion is as follows. The percent over 100 is equal to the part over the whole. Now the problem with this is that sometimes it's hard to figure out what is supposed to be the part and what is supposed to be the whole. It's not always the small number over the large number because we can have percentages larger than 100. So we need another way of doing this. This, using some keywords, is usually easier. The percent is always over 100. That 100 is always part of the percent equation proportion. It's always there. And percent per 100, literally, they go together. For part and whole, I say is over of. Now, if the problem happens to be written in past tense, it would be was instead of is. That's an English language thing. That's not a math thing. Is over of. And most of these problems will have those keywords in there, and if you place them correctly, you'll get a proportion that's fairly easy to solve. Okay, so let's try this. What is 26% of 480? First thing I want to do is I start to set up my proportions, and I always put a 100 on the bottom. The next thing I look for is the percentage. If that's the easiest to find because it's the one that's going to have the sign on it. If you're asked to find the percentage, this is where you're going to put your variable. But we know 26%, so I'm going to put 26 right here. Okay, now I have to figure out whether I'm missing the is or the of. What is? I'm looking for the is, right? Of 480. I'm going to put 480 in the bottom here. Now I have a simple proportion. Cross multiply 100 times x equals 26 times 480. I think, did I get that right? 26 times 480 is, I've got it, sorry. Well, 12,480. Okay, now let's divide both sides by 100. $124.8. Okay, so 124.8 is 26% of 480, and this is what we're looking for. Okay, notice that our answer does not have a percentage on it because we were not asked to find the percent. That sign ends up being very, very important. Okay, so let's look at another one. What percent of 30 is 36? Something over 100 equals something over something. The next thing I do is I look for the percentage. Neither of these has the percent sign. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to put an X where the percent would go. Is over of. What percent of 30? 30 goes in the bottom. Is 36. 36. One thing to remember is that if your numerator is larger than your denominator on one side, it will be the same on the other side. So I expect an answer larger than 100 because 36 is larger than 30. Cross multiply, 30x is equal to 3,600. 36 times 100. Divide both sides by a 30. And you get x equals 120. Now, your answer is not 120. We are looking for a percentage. Your answer is 120%. Will it be wrong if you leave off the percentage? Yes. It's not being picky. It's just that 120 is a very different number than 120%.